She was standing in her closet at 2:47 in the morning, phone in one hand, kitchen knife in the other, listening to a man's footsteps stop right outside the door. Not walk past it, stop. That's where this story starts. But to understand how she ended up in that closet, we have to go back about 6 hours. Welcome back to The Deadly Talk. If this is your first time here, we cover real stories sent in by real people. The kind of stuff that makes you double-check your locks before bed. This one comes from a woman I'll call Dana, out of a quiet suburb in Ohio. She gave me permission to tell it, as long as I changed her name and a few identifying details. Everything else, you're about to hear exactly how she lived it. Let's get into it. Dana was 27 years old, living alone in a rental house she just moved into about 2 months earlier. Cute little 3-bedroom place on a cul-de-sac. The kind of street where everybody waves at everybody, where nothing bad ever happens. That's exactly why she picked it. Her boyfriend worked nights at a warehouse about 40 minutes away, so most weeknights Dana was home by herself. She didn't think much of it. She had a routine. Get home from work, make dinner, watch something on her laptop, go to bed around 11. Same thing, night after night. That routine is important. Remember it. About 2 weeks before everything happened, Dana noticed something small. Nothing alarming on its own, just odd. She came home from the grocery store and the porch light, which she always left on, was off. She figured the bulb burned out. Replaced it. Didn't think twice. A few days after that, she noticed her side gate, the one leading to the backyard, was unlatched. She was almost positive she'd locked it. Almost. Not enough to call anyone about it. Just enough to make a mental note. Looking back now, she says those two things were the first signs. At the time, they felt like nothing. It was a Tuesday. Dana remembers that specifically because Tuesday was trash night, and she just wheeled the bin out to the curb around 9 p.m. The street was empty. Quiet. A little cold for that time of year. She came back inside, locked the door behind her, double-checked it because by now that small uneasy feeling had started creeping in, and sat down to watch TV. Around 10:30 she heard a knock. Not on the front door, on the side window. The one in her living room that faced the narrow gap between her house and her neighbor's fence. She froze. Waited. Nothing. She told herself it was a branch. There was a tree close to that side of the house and the wind had been picking up. That's what she told herself anyway. About 20 minutes later, it happened again. Same window. Same soft, deliberate knock. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps again. That's not wind. Dana got up, turned off the TV, and stood in the middle of her living room in total silence, listening. She said it was the kind of silence where you can hear your own heartbeat in your ears. She walked to the window, pulled back the corner of the curtain just enough to look out. And there was nobody there. No one in the yard. No one by the fence. Nothing. But here's the detail that still gets her, even now. The grass beneath that window was wet from earlier rain, and when she looked down there were footprints, fresh ones, leading right up to the windows and stopping there. No prints walking away. She called her boyfriend. He couldn't leave work, but he stayed on the phone with her for almost 45 minutes while she checked every lock in the house. Front door, back door, both side windows. The little window in the laundry room she always forgot existed. Everything was locked, everything was fine. He told her to call the police if anything else happened, and they hung up around 11:45. Dana decided she wasn't going to sleep in her bedroom that night. Something about being upstairs farther from the front door didn't sit right with her, so she grabbed a blanket and laid down on the living room couch instead, with every light in the house turned off except the small lamp in the corner. She figured if someone was watching the house, she didn't want to be lit up like a stage. She must have drifted off around 1 a.m., because the next thing she remembers is waking up to a sound that didn't belong in her house. It was the sound of her own front door, unlocking. Not someone trying the handle, not someone knocking. The actual deadbolt, turning. Dana said her body moved before her brain caught up. She rolled off the couch, grabbed her phone off the coffee table, and bolted up the stairs as quietly as her legs would let her. She didn't go to her bedroom. She went into the guest room closet, the one with the door that actually latched from the inside, and she pulled it shut behind her. She could hear the front door open, then close, soft, careful, like someone who didn't want to be heard, which somehow was so much worse than if they'd kicked it in. She called 911 in a whisper so quiet the dispatcher had to ask her to repeat herself twice. She gave her address, told them someone was inside her house. The dispatcher told her to stay exactly where she was and stay on the line. That's when she heard the footsteps on the stairs, slow, one at a time, like whoever it was knew the house, knew which steps creaked and was avoiding them. The footsteps reached the top of the stairs and stopped. For almost a full minute, Dana said she didn't hear anything at all. No movement, no breathing she could make out over her own. Just silence thick enough to drown in. Then the steps started again, and they came straight down the hallway toward the guest room. They stopped right outside the closet door. This is the moment from the beginning of the video. Phone in one hand, kitchen knife in the other. She'd grabbed it from the laundry room on her way up. Some instinct she didn't even remember acting on. Dispatcher still on the line, telling her police were 2 minutes out. The doorknob, the closet doorknob, had turned just slightly. Like someone testing it, it didn't open, the latch held. And then just as fast as it had come, the footsteps backed away. Walked back down the hallway, down the stairs, and out the front door, which clicked shut behind them, just as gently as it had opened. Police arrived less than 2 minutes after that. Dana didn't come out of the closet until an officer physically knocked and identified himself by name, which the dispatcher had relayed to her over the phone first. She wasn't taking any chances. They searched the house. Whoever it was gone. No broken windows, no forced entry anywhere. Which raised the obvious question, how did they get in if every door and window was locked? The answer came from the back door. The handle itself was fine, untouched. But underneath the frame, partially hidden by the doormat, the deadbolt strike plate had been swapped. Not broken. Swapped with a part that looked almost identical, except it didn't actually catch the bolt all the way. Someone had been inside that house before that night. Quietly, patiently, setting something up. The police never found fingerprints. The footprints in the yard led to the side fence and just stopped at the property line, same as before. Like whoever it was had simply stepped over and vanished into the next yard, which backed onto a wooded drainage area with no cameras, no lights, nothing. Dana moved out within the month. She broke her lease, ate the fee, and didn't care. Her landlord later told her, almost too casually, that the tenant before her had also moved out early and hadn't given a clear reason why. To this day, nobody knows who that man was, why he picked her house, or why, after going through all that trouble to get inside, quietly, patiently, over what was clearly weeks, he turned around and walked back out the second he found a locked door between him and her. Dana has one theory, she doesn't like saying it out loud, but she thinks he wasn't trying to get to her that night at all. She thinks he was testing how far he could get, and that whatever he was planning for the next time, he never got the chance to finish. If this story got under your skin even a little, that's exactly why we do this. Drop a comment and tell me what you would have done in that closet. Because Dana still isn't sure how she stayed so quiet.